where's CEO confidence in terms of not just hiring, but also just the economy in general, and kind of how are they perceiving things going forward in terms of things like investment, leasing, and kind of the process of deploying capital?
The Vistage CEO Confidence Index has been running since 2003. I've been driving it since 2016 when I joined the organization as Chief Research Officer. It's really interesting because, one, we get the voice of CEOs. We had over 1,300 CEOs respond. Now, 1,300 is a massive number of responses for any type of survey. But what's also valuable is that we know they're all CEOs because they're all our members. So it's not just the number, it's the purity of the number. Anyway, the confidence index remains at historical lows. If you compare the I call that the rising tide decade. 2010 is the end of the Great Recession up to 2020 and COVID. Steady, stable. There were some ups and downs. There was some craziness, but by and large, steady, stable growth, right? COVID happens, and now we're in this post-COVID world. And the data compared to that rising tide is really negative. Our confidence index rose slightly to 81.9, up 4 points, but that's not much. It's been bouncing in this range around the low 80s since we stabilized out of COVID. What's holding it back is economic expectations. CEOs maintain a negative perception of the economy. Only 20% nationally, looking back, thought the economy had improved in the last year. Only 32% looking ahead think it will improve. So there's real negativity around the economy. When we ask about the prospects for their business, I ask you about the economy, you're going to tell me what you think about it, right? And that can be driven by A, what's happening in your business, B, what news source you choose to listen to, right? When we talk about profits and revenue, 60%, so 60% still plan or expect increase in revenue in the year ahead. And that's up a little bit, but it's still down from the norms of the rising tide. 48% think they'll see rising profits. So there are areas and places where people are doing really well, but there's not a lot of energy behind this. And then the third area we look at is expansion. And that is that we see 34% are going to increase their investments in the year ahead, and 48% are going to increase their headcount. Now, again, those numbers are closer to what the norms have been, but they're still back. I think I'll capture and summarize the sentiment as saying that, CEOs are on the fence. That time-old statement of time will tell. Well, you look at this and the economy's booming. You look at that and the economy's going to cave. So are we poised? Are we poised for growth, or are we going to pivot to a recession? We don't know. And that's kind of where CEOs are sitting right now.